What's up, guys? This is going to be the first video of offensive topics. The topic we're going to cover this time is um, well, how else to say it? Tides. Um, Basically, in a nutshell, we've spawned into a country of extreme racism towards Middle Eastern people, but it doesn't just stop at this country. It's been spawned forth mainly from the attacks 9/11, where there was roughly 3,000 casualties, immediate casualties. Um, 274 plane, 19 perpetrators, 4 planes flown into the Twin Towers, World Trade Center, and the Pentagon. Um, Basically, it's just the racism is impressive, honestly. The amount of hate that's been drawn forth towards one, you know, I guess, general race of people is impressive, because it doesn't just stop at America. It's spawned forth into other countries, and it's all from something that happened in America, something that didn't happen in other countries, but other countries now hate them for it. It's interesting, really. And, the racism really knows no bounds. I mean, we dominantly have racism in America against 3 particular people, excluding Middle Eastern people. We also have racism that is very dominant against blacks. We have racism very dominant against Mexicans. And we have racism very dominant against Jewish people. I mean, the Mexicans were racist against for, coming north from their country, and, they're becoming rather populated in America, and it's actually taking away from a lot of the workforce for Americans, American jobs being given to Mexicans. And a lot of people argue it's because they'll do the jobs that we don't want to. Maybe it's not so much the jobs that we don't want to do, it's the jobs that we no longer have the option to do because the Mexicans have taken them. I mean, you can hire a Mexican outside of fucking Home Depot for $20, paint your whole goddamn house. But, there's companies that you pay to do that, and they're more expensive, so Americans are going the cheaper route with that. People dominantly hate black people for a number of reasons, and it's not one-sided by any means. I mean, it's hard to understand Mexicans. If you try to ask them about racism, they start fucking flying off the handle in their spick language and you can't really understand them. But I mean, with black people, I mean, it's very dominant. I mean, you have entire, entire large groups of African Americans, niggers, whatever you want to call them, that are very openly, very obviously racist against white people, and it spawns forth into a lot of crime, a lot of hate crime, so to speak. And then Jews, I mean, we have racism against Jews because, I mean, they're greedy, money-hoarding faggots, so to speak. I mean, through the Civil War, before the Civil War, we had racism against blacks as they were our slaves. They were our workers, our free workers. I mean, they weren't free, we paid for them, obviously, whenever, we bought them from the slavers. But, I mean, they worked for the white man, mostly in the southern states, a little bit in the, central regions. But, excuse me. Then, you have Jews who were persecuted and enslaved by the Egyptians for thousands of years. And maybe, maybe all that physical labor back then is what prevents them from doing physical labor now. But on the topic of what this video is supposed to be, Middle Eastern people, we have racism that spawned from that due to a war that was created in the, mid to late 80s by George Bush Sr. Well, he was president, he was over there for oil, and then it kind of died down in between, the Bushes. And then George Bush Jr. got in, and you know, this whole war on terrorism thing just like really kicked off. That was what sold his second campaign. You know, that's what got him to retain a second year in office, or a second term in office rather. And it's from that you know, we have multiples of hundreds of thousands of American soldiers, whether it's from any of the branches, over in areas that we don't belong, like Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. I don't even know what countries, I just know what they look like. But when it comes down to it all, I mean, as a country, we're racist against, you know, many different creeds, many different colors, and if we speak out about that, you know, we see somebody that looks suspicious, that's racial profiling. Call it what you want. You can call it racial profiling. You can call it butt sex for all I care. In my views, that's being safe. Because if I'm, you know, public transit is not safe anymore due to 9/11. The actions of 9/11, even, you know, despite the fact that we've had, you know, huge crackdown in safety of things of that nature, there's still people that can get through with shit like that, you know. So if I'm getting on a plane, a bus, a taxi, a train, anything, any type of public transit, I'm automatically putting myself at risk. But by racially profiling, you know, against Middle Eastern people, so if I see somebody sitting in the terminal to board the plane that I'm going to board, say, you know, whatever amount of time, and I see them sitting there with one bag, a suitcase, any bag really, or even no bags, doesn't matter if they have bags, but if they're sitting over there with a fucking towel around their head, and some fucking Arab long child molesting looking like beard, I'm not fucking getting on that plane. Call it whatever you want, racial profiling, whatever the fuck. I call it being safe, vigilant and safe, because even though the odds for something like that happening again, and you or me or any of us being on that plane specifically, is beyond comprehension of a small percentage, that is still a possibility. So whenever the possibility presents itself to make yourself safe, you should take it. I mean, even if you get in trouble for a little bit of racial profiling, so what? I'd rather be in trouble for that rather than be dead. Because when it boils down to it all, even though we've eradicated the, you know, jihad, Al-Qaeda, whatever the fuck leader, there's still splinter cells. You know, there's still splinter factions of these, you know, pissy, towelhead, you know, death to the infidels, get my 72 virgins motherfuckers out here. And they're still killing us. And killing other people for them. And it's not even just fucking us as Americans. It's all around. You know, I mean, that one incident, 9/11, as big of an incident as it was America alone. You know, that was something that happened to us. It didn't happen to other countries. But yet other countries found a reason to be racist towards them for it. And I find it amazing. Shocking. But maybe it was an underlying thing, you know? Like, say, Australia, for instance. They tend to be a rather racist country all themselves, but they have no reason in themselves to have any racism towards towards the Middle East countries. But yet once this whole thing happened, all this racism, you know, once 9/11 happened, mounds and mounds of racism poured out of Australia towards Middle Easterns specifically. It's an anomaly. It's really interesting to see, you know, shit like that. But when it all boils down to it, safety can stem forth from racial profiling, not even just towards Middle Easterns, but also towards other factions, other creeds, other colors, whatever you call them, you know. Say you're walking down the street, you know, you're home, you're in your hometown, you're walking down the street. There is absolutely nothing wrong with, you know, you say you see a group, two, one even, black guy coming, you know, towards you, walking towards you, you know, going the opposite direction. There's absolutely nothing wrong with crossing the street for safety. Yeah, I'll get pissed off. So what? If you feel safer on the other side of the street, then go for it. And there's nothing wrong with arming yourself either, because that's what you have to do in this country these days. You have to arm yourself to provide yourself with your own protection. And that's honestly, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't have to worry, when you're walking down the street about getting stabbed or having some jihad fucking son of a bitch run up with a bomb strapped to his chest, and he just decides, where you're standing happens to be a good place to blow up, It's ridiculous, to say the least. I mean, the war in the Middle East is supposed to be over. We're supposed to be demilitarizing that zone, but yet we're still sending people over there on a regular basis. My brother's Air Force. I have a friend who lives down the road who's Navy. I have friends that I went to school with who are military, all different branches. I have fucking cousins that are in the branches of the military, and I'm still hearing about them going on deployments. Why are we being deployed still? Why are we still over there? Why are we sending more people over when we should be bringing them back? I mean, we went over there to revenge 9/11, but yet it's become an oil crisis when we have domestic oil that we can drill for. But yet we still file over there constantly. One right after the other, hundreds of thousands of soldiers, American soldiers, going over to another country to get blown the fuck up. For what? Patriotism. That's bullshit. Oil. That's greed. That's all it is. Rich people running this country send poor people over that have joined the military, say they're being patriots, and send them over to die for a cause. What cause? Greed. That's it. Money. Excuse me. That's all this fucking amounts to. So, no matter how you spin it, whether you spin it on an axis of racism, of military dominance, of revenge, or of greed, it's all it is. It's fucking greed. Everything stemmed forth, everything stemmed back, everything stemmed to the side. No matter what it is, it boils down to greed. In this particular case, not saying it's for everything, but I mean, there's nothing you can really do. Just protect yourself as best you can. But then it comes down to this whole gun ban shit coming now, because the Sandy, whatever, the Ted school shooting, they're talking about taking away, a lot of our guns. That's not going to blow over well. That's how we protect ourselves as people. That's protection that we need in our own country from our own citizens. Not even from our own citizens sometimes. Some people come over that aren't citizens. We need protection from them. Take away our guns with them, we're fucked. And this seems to be a problem that's dominant only in America. Okay, so, we've had a lot of school shootings over the past 2 decades. And just now, because some kid shot up a grade school, now it's a problem. Now we need to take guns away. We had, what was that, the Columbine shootings, 10 years ago? Something like that? A little over 10, a little under 10, whatever. And nothing became of that with gun control. So why the fuck is it all important now? Anyhow, I'm gonna sign off with this. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and arm yourself. Because if this gun ban goes through, we're gonna be kind of fucked, because we're gonna be taking knives to gunfights. Knives to RPG fights, even. But, yeah. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Stay alert. Racial profiling may save your life one day.